Hi, guys. Welcome back. In football, they have a bend but don't break philosophy. It's okay to let the other team's offense come down the field, but don't give up that touchdown. In the diet game, it's okay to surrender and feel like you're broken on any given day. But the key is never to give up and to come back the next day and fight. Today, Manifestor Queen is going to share her video, Surrender, Don't Give Up. I hope you enjoy.
Let's be real. You are going to have days where you wake up and feel like everything is going to shit. Everything around you is crumbling. You were waking up every morning and everything was perfect. Everything was working out for you. You've been healing. You've been manifesting. Everything is all good. But then you're going to have that one morning where you wake up and you're negative in your bank account. Your car's messed up. Your air conditioning don't work. There's just something that is happening to you that you see as a sign that maybe this journey isn't for you. Maybe you aren't worthy of whatever it is you're manifesting. Maybe you're not worthy of welcoming in more money, more abundance. Well, guess what? That is 1000% not true. When you reach that breaking point where everything feels like it's crumbling, that is when you have to fully surrender. You have to surrender and trust and have faith that it is all going to work out in your favor.
There does come a leap of faith where you do have to believe that things are going to work out positively. As Manifestor Queen says, you have to surrender. Also, think about surrendering those credit cards.
Now, is it easy? Absolutely not. There are days where you just feel like everything around you is crumbling. Your relationship, your marriage, your money situation, your job, your anxiety's coming up, your feelings depressed. Like you have all these different things coming up. Those are the days that you have to fully surrender to God, universe, source, whatever you resonate with, and trust in them and have faith in them that everything that's happening, it's happening for a reason. And I feel like right before we're going to come out with like our biggest breakthrough, our biggest manifestation, everything has to fall to shit.
That's that age-old saying that we grew up with, that before things get better, they tend to get worse, right? You have to go through these trials and tribulations to come out bigger and better on the other side. Or in the case of losing weight, smaller and more fit and healthier. I want you guys to constantly stay positive. One of the reasons that I always preach walking is because some of the problems that she's talking about, it's good to stay positive and upbeat about, but it's also even better if you can have a plan to attack them. For example, if you know you have some bills coming up, it's good to start planning on how you're going to take care of those bills now. Don't wait to cross the bridge when you get there. Prepare for how you're going to get across that bridge.
But think of it as you are making more space for all the new that you are welcoming into your life, your new job, your new career, a new version of yourself. You have to get rid of the old. So on those days where you feel like giving up or everything is going to fall apart, put your hand on your heart and just tell yourself, like, everything is working out in my favor. Everything that is happening today is clearing out the old so that I can welcome in the new. This is hard, but I am surrendering and I trust and have faith that everything is going to work out in my favor, because it is. And sometimes when you're on this journey, which is why I'm so big about healing first, healing your traumas, and then reprogramming your subconscious mind, because on these days where everything feels like it's crumbling, a lot of people give up on this journey. They give up on their dreams. They give up on what they've been praying or manifesting for. They don't think they're worthy of it because they had a bad day. Well, this is happening for a reason. It's okay. I surrender and I'm going to sit back and trust and have faith.
Amen. I love that. So again, why don't we make a plan right now? We can just kind of say it to ourselves out loud that I know in the future I'm going to have many bad individual days. I'm going to accept those horrible bad days, and I'm going to come right back the next day and fight. Or in the case of venters, I'm going to come right back the next day and walk, drink sugar, or excuse me, drink water and avoid sugar. Don't drink sugar.
And the next thing that you can do after telling yourself that everything is going to be okay is start listing out things out loud to yourself of what you're grateful for. Because even on a bad day, that you wake up in this funk, in this like brain fog of this isn't working out, where are you at that moment? Are you laying in a bed? Are you inside of a home? Are you comfortable? Do you have a blanket? Do you have a pillow? Is your air conditioner on? That is something to be grateful for. So even though your bank account is negative, or even though you're having car trouble or something, you're alive. You're inside of a home. You have air, you have water, you have a shower, you have a toilet. Like, think of all of the little things that you have in that current moment where everything feels like it's falling apart, and just watch how you instantly will have a mindset shift to lack of, scarcity, fear, doubt, nothing's working for me, to a more positive mindset to, okay, you know what? I know my account is low or my account's negative, but I know money's coming because money is energy. Money always comes to me. I know that I'm going to have to go and fix my car and it's going to cost me money, but wow, like currently right now, I'm alive. I woke up this morning. I'm healthy. My family's healthy. I'm laying here in my bed, in a nice, comfortable bed, in a home. You know, you will instantly go to a gratitude mindset.
So I want you guys to think about something, because some of you have been trying to manifest the best version of you and the best version of your finances, and now here you are watching me talk to you on a YouTube video. Could it be that your subconscious found a way to find me? We're about taking action plans and putting them into action. We like to walk every single day. It's a great way to become a permanent calorie burner. We like to drink water every day. Why? Because when you're drinking water, you're staying away from Coca-Cola and sweet beverages. We like to avoid sugar every day. Why? Because sugar tends to make you crave more and more food. So I agree with everything the Manifestor Queen said. I think you should go to her channel, and I think you should subscribe and give her thumbs up on her videos. But even more than that, I think you should get your shoes. Let's go for a walk. Walkers. We're a rare breed. Most of us walk alone. Let's do this. To my venters, thank goodness it's Friday for me. Thank goodness it's Saturday for you. I wanted to give you guys a quick little addition or addendum to what I spoke to you guys about yesterday. Amendment, maybe I should say, rather than addendum. You know, I'm a Christian, and whether you're a Christian or not, it is good to forgive people. So yesterday, I hope I didn't come across by saying that if somebody cheated on you, or if you forgave somebody, or somebody forgave you for cheating on them, there's nothing wrong with being a forgiving person. Sometimes people really do make mistakes in life. Sometimes they really do realize their error quickly. And sometimes they're very much willing, if given a second chance, to stop doing wrong. So I want you to know that there are people out there that aren't necessarily cheaters forever. There are good people amongst us. Sometimes when your boy is venting, he goes a little bit overboard, right? Learn to forgive me when that happens. There's no such thing as 100% absolutes. Just because you were a cheater with a wayward eye back in the day doesn't mean that's how you are forever. That's where you have to look into your own heart and say, you know what? I'm going to forgive myself for the evil, bad things I've done in this life, and I'm going to move forward from this point on, and I'm going to try to make the perfect right decision that I need to make, even though I'm not a perfect person. So remember, guys, whenever I'm telling you guys something or doing an event, that could have been me waking up on the wrong side of the bed. Yes, you are capable of change. That's why we're not animals. That is the difference between people and animals. We are capable of having a change of heart. We are capable of seeing the error in our ways. And we're more than capable than looking at the man or woman in the mirror and changing ourselves for the better. And through steps like Kaizen, where we take baby steps rather than large leaps, one of the things that I've noticed with Kaizen through the years is baby steps, when you continue to make them, end up equating to large leaps. So are you stuck in the world that you're stuck in? No. That's why we walk, Venters. We are all walking into that new us that we want to become. And again, if you're Christian, it is your duty to forgive people. So even when I tell you, lock them up and throw away the key, keep in mind that might have been me waking up on the wrong side of the bed. Sometimes we need to be forgiven. We all are not perfect, right? So just know, I love the Venters. Don't ever get so mad that you unsubscribe and quit listening to me. Just know that we are all capable of waking up on the wrong side of the bed and getting totally fed up. Getting totally fed up with this life. You know what we need? We need a good story from our friends at the Good News Network. Check out this story that I heard today. It really made me smile. Picture this. 4-year-old Lila Leatham of Norwich, England. Seems like we get a lot of stories out of England. 4-year-old Lila Leatham saw her mom, Leah Biggs, collapse due to an epileptic seizure. She tried reaching for her mommy's phone. Her mom's phone was locked. What does a little 4-year-old do? Many of us cannot even remember when we were 4 years old, other than a couple of snapshot memories we might have, if that. From what I understand, Lila, the little 4-year-old, was taught by her family to use Alexa to call her great-grandmother if anything ever happened to her mom, because apparently her mom suffered from these epileptic seizures. So check this out. She reaches for her mommy's phone. Mommy's phone is locked. She then immediately flies into action, guys. This is so angelic and wonderful of a story. She runs upstairs, uses the training that her family entrusted her with, and she proceeds to call Alexa to call her great-grandmother to save her mommy's life. Isn't that a beautiful story? Gives me chills. They gave this little girl a certificate and a trophy, and I think it's well deserved. And I'm super proud of her family for having the quick idea of teaching this little girl how to use technology in her household to potentially save mommy's life. Guys, I bet you never would have thought that if you gave birth to a child, that when that child was 4 years old, they could potentially save your life. I just think that's a beautiful thing. I don't know if you guys knew this about me or not, but if you watch some of my older videos, there's a situation where I walked by a park in another part of the neighborhood. And when I was 5 years old, me and my mom and her boyfriend rented a house. And one day my mom and her boyfriend got into a real scary fight where her boyfriend ended up basically beating her up, was on top of her, pounding her face, breaking all of my mom's teeth. I mean, we're talking a traumatic, scary event. I was only 4 or 5 years old. While I'm watching this 300-pound man beat up my mom to the point where I'm thinking my mommy's gonna die, I had to run down what would be the longest hallway you could imagine. It wasn't that long, but when you're 5 years old, it's long, because I didn't know if this guy was right behind me, ready to get me and ready to hurt me. It was one of those vibes where even at age 5, I knew, get some help immediately. Hey, good morning. So I run down this hallway, not knowing if this guy is right behind me, ready to hurt me. And I proceed to get out of my house. Now keep in mind, this is probably like 1, 2, 3 in the morning. and I proceed to run to a neighbor's home, banging and slapping on the door as hard as I possibly can, begging and pleading for them to open the door. Now keep in mind, there could have been a guy one stride behind me, ready to just tackle me, hurt me, take me back into the house, whatever the situation is. But luckily, something made those neighbors know, hey, there's a little boy out here that needs help, and they came and they helped me. So I am so thankful for neighbors that have a heart for people. That's why I tell you, when you're on your walk, look out after your neighbors, because when I was a 5-year-old boy, thank God, neighbors were strong and kind enough to open the door for me. And even though I didn't have Alexa back then, I'm just so proud and amazed that these people entrusted this 4-year-old child to save their life. Tell me that's not a beautiful story. You know, not necessarily the story I told, right? But the story of this little girl saving her mom. I would like to think that I helped save my mom by not freezing and being a deer in the headlights. Sometimes you have to be prepared for things. There was no way that I, as a 4 or 5-year-old boy, could prepare for such a trauma and such a tragic event. But there is a silver lining to every tragic event. Here's that silver lining in what it was for me. I learned from an extremely early age that it's not cool if you lay your hands on somebody, even if maybe you think they deserve it. Especially when it comes to somebody that's weaker than you. And let's be honest, 9 times out of 10 in a relationship, the man is probably going to be stronger than the woman. Let your kids know you love them, and trust your kids, no matter how young they are, and trust them with the knowledge of how they can get help in a bad situation. Let them know how to open your phone if they need to make a call to 911. Let them know how to get in touch with grandma and grandpa if there's an emergency. Let them know how to protect themselves, how to give themselves a chance. Teach your kids these things. If you're a grandma and you don't want to offend your daughter and her son, or your daughter and her husband, because technically you're not their child's mom, but you are their grandma, then have a conversation with the family. Say, hey, I want to make sure that, little Tina has a way of reaching me if anything ever happens to you guys. I think the little kids are smart enough to know the difference between right and wrong, and to go ahead and be able to do something in an emergency situation. So again, I'm just so proud of that family. And notice that she didn't call her grandma, she called her great-grandma. Sometimes there's a situation where you have to be willing to entrust the elderly, no different than the youth. If your great-grandma's 90 years old, but she's still with it, why wouldn't you have her be a potential emergency, number for a child? Give your children every weapon that you can that can help save the day. I think that's just a beautiful story. If you agree, let me know. And here's another beautiful story. What if I told you that just days before this Winder, Georgia shooting, where Colt Gray took out 4 people in the school in Georgia, what if I told you that there was a technology that the teachers were given literally just days before that happened? It's called the Strategic's ID button, or badge, it's their teacher badge, and it now includes a panic button. When I read this story earlier today, guys, it reminded me of the easy button that Office Max or Staples sells. That little red button that they sell as a joke, the easy button? That's what this reminded me of, but it's more akin to a silent alarm button that people have at Circle K and at banks. This button basically alerts the authorities, we need help. This particular button is not a dumb button, though. It's a smart button, and let me explain. I believe if the teachers hit it once or twice or 3 times, it alerts an ambulance that, hey, we need medical help pronto. If they hit it 7, 8, 9 times, or however many times they have to hit it, it immediately alerts the authorities that, hey, we need a police presence immediately. Apparently, not one, but a handful of teachers in Winder, Georgia, were able to hit their panic button on their badge and alert the cops. So although it was a tragedy that we lost 4 souls the other day, it sounds to me like it might have been limited to just those 4 souls because of this panic button. I thought that was wonderful. Tell me what your thoughts are on that. And now that this has been in use, it makes me want to get these badges out to every single teacher in America. And I think we need to make it easier than 3 buttons for an ambulance and 8 pushes of the button for the cops. How about 1 for the ambulance, 2 for the cops, you know? Maybe you can make it 2 for the ambulance and 3 for the cops, because if you accidentally hit it once, you don't want cops and ambulance coming to schools all the time. But I think we need to make it easier than pressing it 8 times. That seems a little crazy. But I love those stories. Sometimes tech is a good thing. And I think we can all agree in both of these cases, with a little girl calling Alexa and a teacher being able to simply push a button on their badge, I think that's an awesome thing. What do you guys think of that technology? And do you guys agree with me that we need to start entrusting our little 4 and 5-year-olds with a little bit of just in case planning, and we need to start entrusting all of our teachers to have this badge at the push of a button? Another thing this badge does, if you think about it, it takes away the kids' need to bring a cell phone to school, because keep in mind, every time there's a school shooter, it kind of leads credence to, hey, this is why we need kids to be able to have a cell phone at school so that they can call the authorities. Which totally makes sense, you know, when there's a shooting. But when there's not a shooting, which, let's be honest, most of the time at your school there's not going to be an active shooter, then all the phone does is it leads to you not having very good participation in class. If we could have a situation where all the teachers have access to call the police or the ambulance right away with a push of a button, then you guys don't really need to have your cell phones in class anymore. Now, if you disagree with that, let me know, but can most of us at least agree that usually 9 times out of 10, it's a bad idea for students to have a cell phone in class, especially if they're allowed to use it, which none of them are, but yet we constantly hear that most of them are using it in class. We need to get rid of that. I used to have a mini pincher like that. Oh my God, that little mini pincher is a chunk. Little dogs like to eat a lot and get chunky, have you noticed? Little dogs are kind of like us people. They just think it's no big deal to keep eating and they're gonna stay small forever. And before you know it, you've got a little piglet on your hands. I had a mini pin and we named it Piglet. The reason we named it Piglet is because instead of cropping its ears up, somebody had told me, oh, that's mean and cruel to the animals, don't do it. So I went from having this mini pin that looked really cool to, you know, floppy-eared Piglet. But I loved my floppy-eared Piglet. If you have ever had a mini pincher, they are just the best dogs. They really, really are. They're kind of like Chihuahuas, but instead of being kind of mean, they tend to be more gentle and nice. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm sure there's some finger-biting mini pins out there. I don't even like to call them mini pins anymore. I like to think of them as little piglets. And my dog was so chunky with his floppy ears, he just looked like Piglet. And why would I name a dog Piglet? Because we all grew up with Winnie the Pooh. That's Americana. You guys probably had some dogs that were chunky too. You could have easily named that dog Piglet. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I was always told that Winnie the Pooh, you remember how Eeyore was always depressed, and remember how Tigger was always really excited? Well, I think somewhere along the line in my life, I heard that Tigger represented like ADHD, and the donkey Eeyore kind of represented depression, and all of the different characters actually represented an issue that people are dealing with in life. Is that a real true story? I don't know, but that's something I've heard. If you guys have also heard that parroted through the years, let me know, because it's interesting when people bring up alternative reasons for things, and you hear the alternative reason for Winnie the Pooh. It's really interesting, because the truth is, Eeyore, the donkey, was kind of depressed. If you think about it, Tigger was kind of always, he kind of was ADHD, right? Tigger was kind of like that. Winnie the Pooh, what was Winnie the Pooh's malady? I don't know, maybe he was too nice, who knows? Maybe he had an addiction to the honey. Yeah, that was probably Winnie the Pooh's, right? Winnie the Pooh's was a study in addiction. He was really addicted to honey. I had a viewfinder. If you guys ever had a viewfinder, let me know down in the comments. But one of the viewfinders I had was a Winnie the Pooh viewfinder. And I remember I would click the thing and it would switch the picture over. And one of my favorite ones where it would show Winnie the Pooh inside of it looked like a hole of a tree. And he was filled up everywhere with this golden honey. And I don't know if you guys remember, but viewfinders used to have really neat looking illustrations and artwork in them. Just really, really neat. On another note, I want to give a sincere thank you to both Mala and Sean. Mala and Sean, you guys have a real way of just making my heart feel incredibly happy. We live in a world where it's very, very easy to just assume there are no good. Everybody's horrible. We're all scoundrels deep down. But when you have positive people in your life like Mala and Sean, I'd like to think of myself as a positive person, usually. And you have people like Lily and a host of others. Obviously, I can't name all of you all the time, but you guys know who you are. There's so many positive people among you, and you guys have really uplifted my life. And I want to let you know that sometimes there's more to life than what you gain out of it. Sometimes it's nice to invest a little. One of the things that I decided to do that I'm very happy about is I decided to invest my time into this channel. I knew that I had an advantage. I literally love walking. And I knew that by loving walking and sharing my love for it, that even if I could get one or two people to realize the benefits, it would be kind of like giving them the gift of extra life. Because, most experts would agree that if you can start a walking routine and try to lower your sugar even a little bit, it should add years to your life. It's just like if you got somebody to quit smoking, right? If you get somebody to quit smoking, there's a good chance you added a couple years to their life. And when it comes to people like Sean and Mala, you guys have been so supportive of the show. And I just want you to know that means the absolute world to me. I think Mala is sometimes afraid that I'm going to quit the show because sometimes I gripe and talk about it. Oh my God, guys, there's a couple of the cats. 1, 2, 3, 4, right there. Oh my goodness. See, you know what happens? The city comes over and they say, "Hey, cat lady, get rid of the shit. Get rid of the cats." And the cat lady says, "Okay, I don't want to go to jail. I'm going to get rid of these cats." And then a week later, when the city is gone, the cats start to return. And before you know it, the lady that was promising the city, "I will only keep 1 or 2 cats. You promise?" "I promise." "You mean it?" "I mean it." And before you know it, cat number 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 are back. Guys, that house had 35 or 40 cats a couple years back. And now it's down to 4 or 5. So that's a move in the right direction. Oh my God, people that love animals and they start taking them in, they almost always go overboard. There's an addiction there with cats, ladies. You gotta be strong. Notice there's very rarely a guy with 1 million cats. It's always the cat lady. Be strong, ladies. Cap that number of cats at 2 or 3. Don't let yourself get up to cat number 30 or 40. So let's talk about this. Let's recap this because it's been a real positive day. We have venters out there like Lily, like Sean, like Rochelle, like Mala, like Sherry Ann that really do care. We have people like myself out there that are willing to invest time to share with you the benefits of walking. And more importantly, there are people out there that although they don't always get a chance to say thank you, they really are thankful for the walk. One of our sayings here is, the walk must go on. So if you ever wonder, why do they keep writing TWMGO? Why the heck do we keep seeing these letters? It stands for the walk must go on. And if you believe in that mantra, then I want you guys to put that next to some of your comments, because I believe the walk must go on. Sean believes the walk must go on. Mala and Lily believe the walk must go on, and if I haven't mentioned your name and you believe it too, let us know down in the comments. The walk must go on. Guys, this is therapeutic. There's nothing crappy or poopy about taking a walk. It's the most beautiful thing in the world. And the reason I wanted you guys to start walking when it's the hottest that it is because if you can walk when it's miserable, then you are unstoppable. You are unstoppable. And you want to know something? If you suffer from insomnia and you find yourself waking up at 2 or 3 in the morning, if you live in a relatively safe neighborhood, go for a walk. Start drinking water and walking, and pretty soon you'll notice that you sleep better. But if you do wake up, instead of staring at the ceiling, getting irritated that you can't fall asleep, maybe that's your special time to go on a walk. Grab your shoes, go on a walk while it's still dark outside, and beat the heat. If you want to walk in Arizona at a time when it's actually not that bad, 3 or 4 in the morning might be that time for you. Now remember, when you're walking at 3 or 4 in the morning, that doesn't mean that other people that are out and about walking are just having a leisure walk. There are some legitimate, shady, suspect people that are out at 2 or 3 in the morning. So be wary of that. You see somebody and they say hello to you, and you see them for 2 or 3 mornings in a row at 3 or 4 in the morning, they're probably a walker just like you. But if they look suspect and stuff, note them, especially if you see them messing with people's cars or houses. But be careful, have your guard up, make sure you trust your gut. If there's one thing I want people to do, it's trust your gut. If you ever think about unsubscribing and not walking with us, ask your gut, do I really want to do this? And when your gut says, I don't know, don't do it, don't do it. You should be subscribing to our channel, not unsubscribing. And even if you're not motivated to walk today, the thing that you got to train your brain to do is you got to say, hey, I didn't walk yesterday, I'm going to walk today. You have to get used to forcing yourself to walk until it becomes something you love. And I promise you, 3, 4, 5 weeks into walking, you'll start getting addicted to it. It's the best. It's the absolute best. Remember, a lot of us grew up at a time where it wasn't uncommon for our mommies to be beaten up, not necessarily by dads, but by boyfriends and stuff. And now we live in a world where it's not uncommon for women to get beat up by other women. I see it all the time. I'm sure you guys do too. Teach your kids how to protect themselves. Teach them about stranger danger. There's scary people out there. We don't want people abducting our kids. We don't want our kids sitting there like a deer in the headlights. Give them a proactive plan. Hey, if something ever happens and you see mommy and daddy are in danger, use Alexa. Have her call the cops. Call grandma. Call grandpa. And you need to let grandma and grandpa know on the other end, guys, to make sure that if you see Becky calling you, that you don't just ignore the call to go back to, Candy Crush. Pick up the phone and see why she's calling you. It could be that important time. There are so many times where people will see you calling and they hit ignore, right? We have that happen all the time. Friendships are lost over people refusing to answer the phone, right? If your grandkids are calling you, don't be that jerk that's too busy for your grandkids. Answer the phone. You never know why they're calling. And you know, the reality is that goes for anybody, even if it's some weird stranger that's calling you that you're friends with, but you don't really talk to often. Answer the phone. Is there a chance they're calling just to ask you to bum money, or, you know, hey, can you help me move? Yeah, there's always that chance. Pick up the phone in case. You never know. Somebody could really be having a horrible day. Pick up the phone and help them. But anyway, I thought those stories were really great. Sean and Mala, thank you guys for so much for what you do. I'm not a coffee drinker, but my God, you guys are filling me up with coffee. I've got to be the luckiest YouTuber ever, because every time I complain about YouTube, it seems like one of my venters says, hey, we need each other. We don't need YouTube. That's right. YouTube is just the vehicle that enables us to visit one another. Let's keep visiting one another. Let's keep putting one foot in front of the other. Let's start hitting these weight loss goals. Yes. And you don't need to stare at that scale. You don't need to stare at that MFer. Put that MFer back in the closet. The way I want you to start realizing how healthy you're getting is, how good do you feel? Do your muscles feel taut? And do you feel like you've got some muscle forming? Do you feel like you could walk 3 or 4 miles with no problem? I carry 2 batteries. Why? Because you want to be proactive when you know your batteries burn out halfway through your walk. So let me tell you guys a little bit about what I did as a Kaizen step for my YouTube channel, because you guys can apply it to your walk by doing some form of extra credit. So what extra credit did I do? Well, what I did was I went to Quick Print and I had them make me a giant car magnet that should arrive today, tomorrow, or Monday at the latest when it arrives. I'm going to share it with you guys, but just imagine this oversized, ugly looking car magnet. I'm going to have that on the side of my car, so every time I go to the gym, or if I go visit somebody across town or what have you, I can put that magnet on the side of the car. And if it gets people to click on Walk Talk Vent, the YouTube channel, and become walkers and venters with us, then hey, that's wonderful. And those are things that you can do. I also went and I designed another shirt, purchased it myself, and this time it's got the logo on the back, so that when I'm on the second row of treadmills, the people behind me at Planet Fitness can see my Walk Talk Vent channel on the back of my shirt. So those are little old school things that, you know, I grew up at a time where we didn't have the internet. We had to learn how to let people know what we did, you know, with things like advertising. So your boy's busting out the old school methods. Here's an old school method for you. Get your shoes on, start walking, and just because I stopped after 30 minutes doesn't mean you have to. You guys are venters, and believe it or not, we've been walking together now for 6 months in a row. If you've been walking with me since day one, congratulations. You're not just a venter, you're a permanent walker now. You've got a walking routine. You are so much more healthy and different than you were this time last year. So congratulations, and we'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day.